Today I fucked up by buying a bottle of wine at the movies. Went to fancy movie theater with date. Decide to buy a bottle of wine. Go back to bar. Ask for 2 glasses. Bartender says he needs 2 IDs. I'm too lazy to go back to seats to grab date's ID. Tell him I'm alone and was embarrassed to ask for just 1 glass. He is clearly sympathetic. Idiot me then tries to sell the story and continue on about how lonely I've been recently. He tells me he's off in a few minutes and insists on watching the movie with me. I try to fight it, but I could only argue so much without giving away the truth. Bartender is insistent. I text my date what's happening. Go back to theater with my new date. Sit a few rows in front of my first date. She has the stupidest grin on her face as me and the bartender, Jared, sit a couple rows in front of her. He ends up being super cool and bought me and him another bottle during the movie. Movie ends. I thank him for his gesture. He didn't even ask for my number or anything. I think Jared was just a genuine guy trying to comfort someone. Met back up with my date in the parking lot and thankfully she found the whole thing hilarious. I don't deserve Jared. The real fuck up was ditching Jared to meet up with this date afterwards. Sat next to you through a movie, bought you wine. I think I know who the real date ended up being. Next day I fucked up. At work I was really nice to a guy who has been having some personal trouble, and thought he was cool. He totally dumped me for some random chick sitting 2 rows behind us. I saw them later in the parking lot. Sniff, sniff. Jared knew exactly what was going on, and decided to fuck with you. Deleted. Damn it, Jared. Sounds like a good guy. Edit, whoa. That's a lot of karma for opening the subway doors. Thanks, random Redditors. I can't tell whether Op is a straight male who got picked up by a gay male bartender, or if Op is a gay female who got picked up by a straight male bartender. Either way, I really like how Op both started and ended his date with a woman, and had a legit mini date with a man in the middle. This story is pretty awesome. Today I fucked up by looking up my school bully. So a little backstory, my family moved to a whole new country where we didn't speak the language when I was 12 years old, and they put me in a normal school and told me to just deal with it. I struggled like hell because I didn't speak a single word of English. The school they put me in was also rated one of the worst schools in the country, not just because of academic performance but also due to crime statistics. 2 separate stabbings happened on school premises while I was there. Anyway, I tried my hardest to ingratiate myself in the culture, the people and the language. One guy just completely hated my guts from day one. No idea why or what I did to him, but he just absolutely hated me and showed it. He was your typical delinquent, stealing, ruining people's property, skipping school, drugs, fighting, gang-related activities, you name it, he's probably been involved in it. So that's the kind of person I'm talking about. He would beat me up with his friends in tow, constantly taking the piss out of my accent and my English in class, in front of the teachers and all. There was a couple of occasions where they pushed me into a puddle of mud just before school started, or would follow me into the toilet while I was pissing and try to choke me out from behind. I naturally had to find ways to survive by knowing which toilets to use and when to leave school and which exist to use, where to sit in class, etc. Once this failed and him and his friends found me outside of school and beat the brakes off of me. Literally couldn't do anything. There was like 20+ boys and some men who came after to school to meet him. I just curled up and tried my best to protect my head. The only thing that kept me sane that entire time was the knowledge that none of this would matter when we grow up. I would have a family, a job, be an upstanding member of society, and he would be in prison or at the very least not doing well. Karma has to work right. The world can't be that unfair. Fast forward 15 years. I haven't kept in contact with anyone from that school. I didn't make any friends and I didn't develop Stockholms. I looked him up on Facebook. He owns a very successful business. He has a boat today. I fucked up a wife and 2 young kids. He lives in the best part of town. He owns a huge house and a few very expensive cars. He is doing incredibly well as opposed to me, not married, no kids, no job and back living with my parents. This has completely fucked me up for the past 5 days and I just can't get over the bullshit I was fed. Karma will get him for you. I think karma missed. Too long didn't read, looked up my school bully and he is doing way better than I ever will. Having worked in a competitive corporate environment for the last 10 plus years, I can tell you for a fact that liars and cheaters continue to proliferate throughout life. People who have had it easy, people who have cheated their way through school, people who brown nose their way through things, all of those people are still here in the working world. No doubt, there are those whose karma did catch up to them, but there are a lot of shitty people in the world. I think you know what you need to do, op. Fuck his wife. /s. Don't do that. Or do, I'm not your mommy. Lol, how would that go? Hey babe, wanna come to mine? My mom is out of the house tonight I think. I'm sorry that it's hit you so hard. Comparing ourselves to our perception of other people's perfect lives can be so devastating. I can relate, but honestly, Facebook doesn't mean shit. People only post what they want people to see. The guy is probably still a jerk, his marriage could just as easily be on the brink of divorce and his kids could be terrors. You have no idea what's going on in his life. Edit, I guess what I really meant is that he may or may not still be a jerk/bully. He may have grown up and learned empathy, but he may be suffering in other ways that pictures cannot convey or outsiders cannot perceive. It's impossible to know anything without being there. The reality is that he likely came from money and privilege, and now lives in money and privilege. There's a girl I went to school with. She was the typical popular girl, who didn't give a shit about learning and constantly caused interruptions. She's now an extremely successful travel ambassador, traveling the world living her best life. I worked my ass off in school and I'm still studying, may take years to start earning well in my field, if ever. Karma isn't real, life isn't fair. Sometimes reality is shit. Focus on fixing your own issues and accept that life is shit sometimes and your bully doing extremely well is just part of that shit. Today I fucked up by being oblivious to the notes my fiancé has been writing me. Obligatory, it's 7 AM. This didn't happen today, but very recently. I have been packing a lunch for work for about the past 2 months. I pack it usually, but if I'm behind schedule, my fiancé will sometimes help or do it for me. I got home from work, and we were talking about how the day went. She asked me how lunch was, and I told her it was good and thanked her again. After a pause, she kinda laughed and said, "Did you like the note today?" Puzzled, I told her I didn't know what she was talking about. She said, "The note. The one I put at your lunch today." I told her I didn't see a note. But the way she said today made it feel like this wasn't the first time. I said, "Wait. Have you written me a note before?" She said, "Yes." "Have you never seen them?" So apparently this is the 9th note she has written on a napkin, and I've thrown every one in the trash can at work. Too long didn't read, my fiancé was being sweet as per usual, and I was literally throwing it in the garbage can. Pro tip. Put it face up and on top. Yep. I have a label maker at work that prints on small address labels. I usually print off a string of 15 to 20 of them saying versions of "I love you more" every few months, and randomly stick them to things in the house so my wife will find them. My favorite places are on the wall next to the toilet, inside the lid of the cat litter box, and on her stash of period snacks. Sometimes it takes a while before she finds them, but she's been saving them for the last 3 years on the fridge or just leaves them where they are. My first thought was that it was a paper note inside your sandwich and you were eating them. Probably should write her a good note and plant it with some chocolates where she will find it. Make the note embarrassingly cute and she'll love it. Yes. 100% will do this now. Thanks. I'll pack my husband's lunch here and there. I learn fast to use with sticky notes or notepad paper.